Today we're going to look at Module 1, Lesson 12. The materials you need for today's lesson are your math journal, your Learn book, your pencil, your Succeed book. You're going to need to know that your Learn book is the one that has Learn at the top of the book, and it's light blue on the spine. So please gather your things. Today's learning target: I can solve multi-step word problems using the standard addition algorithm modeled with tape diagrams and assess the reasonableness of answers using rounding. So first we're going to solve a multi-step word problem using a tape diagram. And if you remember, a tape diagram is a way to represent numbers using pieces of tape or just a model that looks like rectangles. The City Flower Shop sold 14,594 pink roses on Valentine's Day. They sold 7,857 more red roses than pink roses. How many pink and red roses did the City Flower Shop sell altogether on Valentine's Day? Use a tape diagram to show the work. Well, first, when we read the problem, we're going to see what information we know. And we know that they sold 14,594 pink roses. So I'm going to represent that with one tape, the rectangle, to show how much 14,594 roses look like. Now, do we know how many red roses? No, but we do know that there were 7,857 more red roses than pink ones. So we can use a second tape to represent the number of red roses. So we have the amount of pink plus 7,857 more is going to show us how many red. Now, what's the problem asking us to find? It wants us to find the total number of roses. So to do that, we can draw a bracket and label it R for roses. Now, first, we're going to find out how many red roses were sold. I can do that by showing you 14,594 plus 7,857 to give me 22,451. Now, if we want to find out how much R equals, we're going to add those two together. So 14,594 pink plus 22,451 red is going to give me the total number of roses. So I'm going to take a second and add those two numbers together. My total number of roses is 37,045. So if I wanted to write a statement for that, I would say the City Flower Shop sold 37,045 pink and red roses on Valentine's Day. So now we're going to solve a two-step word problem using a tape diagram and assess the reasonableness of the answer. Now, when you want to find reasonableness, we're going to use rounding. This is where all of that actually comes into play. So on Saturday, 32,736 more bus tickets were sold than on Sunday. On Sunday, only 17,295 tickets were sold. How many people bought bus tickets over the weekend? We're going to use a tape diagram to show our work. So first, we're going to think about how many tickets were sold over the weekend. That's what we're going to see. So we want to draw a tape to show how many tickets were sold on Sunday. And on Sunday, we know that there was only 17,295. Now on Saturday, we know that there were 32,736 more than that. So we're showing our second tape to show how much more. Now, we want to find out how many tickets were sold in total over the weekend. So first, what I want to do is estimate to get a general idea of what our answer will be. That way, when I'm adding all these big numbers up, I'll be able to see if it's close to my estimation. So 17,295 is about 20,000. And 32,736 is about 30,000. So I'm going to estimate and add the 20,000 plus the 20,000 plus the 30,000 is going to give me 70,000. Now, I want to solve to find the actual number of tickets sold over the weekend. So let's add all of those actual numbers together. So I'm going to add 17,295 plus 17,295 plus 32,736. You can pause and solve that. When I add them together, I get a total number of tickets, which is 600,326. And I'm going to ask myself, is that reasonable? Is it close to my estimate of 70,000? Yes. So I can say that that is most likely correct. There were 67,326 people who bought bus tickets over the weekend. We're going to do one final problem. And this time we're going to use a multi-step word problem using a tape diagram and assess the reasonableness. So last year, Big Bill's department store sold many pairs of footwear. 118,214 pairs of boots were sold. 37,092 more pairs of sandals than pairs of boots were sold. And 124,417 more pairs of sneakers than pairs of boots were sold. How many pairs of footwear were sold last year? So the first thing that we're going to do is show us how many boots were sold. And we know that number is 118,214. So that's my first tape. Now the second piece of information that I know is that I have the sandals was the amount of boots plus 37,092 more. So I'm going to add that tape onto the end of it. Now, I also know that the number of sneakers was the same as the amount of boots plus another 124,417. And I want to find the total number of pairs of footwear. So there's a couple ways I can solve this. And the first thing I want to do is estimate. So here's my tape diagram, and I want to estimate the amounts. So one way I could do that is to say that 118,214 is about 120,000. So I'm going to show that 1, 2, 3 times. Then I'm going to say 124,417 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is still about 120,000. And then I could say that 37,092 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is about 40,000. And when I add up all of those estimations together, that gives me a total of 520,000. So I'm going to use that when I actually add up all of these large numbers and find my actual answer. So if I were to do that math, I would add up the number of boots 3 times plus the additional amount that gives me the sneakers and the additional amount added on for the sandals. Now, another way that I could do that is to find out, again, there's my rounding, and I could find out how much were the sandals, and then how much were the sneakers, and then add that to the number of boots. Either way I do it, it's going to come up with the same answer because I'm adding up all of those different amounts. And when I come up with my answer, 516,151 pairs of footwear were sold last year. When I look at my estimation, that is pretty close. So I can say, yes, I think my answer was reasonable. The next thing you're going to do with your teacher is to work on problem set pages 89 through 92 in your Learn book. For homework, complete exit ticket on page 93 in your Learn book and upload the photo into Google Classroom. And finally, your Succeed book, pages 57 through 59.